Gail would like to ask you a question, okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, wonderful, thank you. And I have one of Bob's Frisbees.
Oh, yeah?
No, not really.
Oh.
I had years ago.
Okay.
Yes, and so now I'm interested in really doing the business. And I gave my sister of the K8 501, and now I have a K8. But I have some friends who just recently bought homes, and they say that, well, I've got a filter. They've got filtered water. I want them to invest in the system. So they feel that that's enough. How can I encourage
No, I
them?
mean, you just have to, if people will not, watch a demonstration, or you can't do anything like that, so they could see the difference between their filtered water and ionized, alkalized water, then you just have to give them samples of the water. Or what I would do is just take the drops or an ORP meter and go over and show them, that the water has electricity, has electrical charge, and that it's the difference in the alkalinity in the water with a pH meter, or just the drops, the most inexpensive way. And them drops will come out orange and acidic most likely, and ours come out purple. So, and if not, then just don't worry about it. Just say, look, you're gonna hear about this in the future, and just come back to me. Always leave it on good terms. Don't ever, get upset at someone that doesn't want a machine. It never means not now. It means, they're just not ready at the moment. Maybe they bought a home system. Maybe they did this, but always keep it open and say, look, eventually you're gonna hear about this. And when you do, remember, I'm the one that told you, and I would like to come and show you a personal demonstration. Or if you want to do it as a business, I will be there to support you and help you through your beginning and get you off the ground. And that's what I do. I go out of my way. If I have someone new, I tell them, spend a week with me and follow me, come with me, drive with me. And they go with me, whether I'm hooking up a machine, or sometimes doing a demo, or sometimes speaking to someone, and they listen. And I talk to them while we're driving in the car, and just fill them in on, it's the simple things that work, And another thing is, when I would invite people, I never say, come to a seminar, come to a demo. I just say, come to my house, we're gonna have dinner, or we're gonna have a barbecue. And then I just do the demo. And if all of a sudden they're outside, or they end up, what's going on? And I just throw on, I play the beginning of the DVD, just like 5 or 10 minutes. I use the shortest one, not even Bob's anymore. We found a short one, Ashley Strand, I believe, did it. And I just play the beginning of that. And then I just do a few things, the drops, the pH, the ORP, and show them the difference. And that should be enough to spark their interest, and again, I never ask them, to buy anything. I just say, look, I have this available. And most people in the beginning, I just told them, it's good for your health, because a lot of times we would tell people it's a business, and they would say, look, we just came for our health. We didn't know there's a business behind this. So some people don't even want to deal with the business. They just want the machine for themselves. And it's good to know which person is looking for what, because sometimes people, they think, well, you're getting a commission when I buy this. So, they get a little bit, queasy. They don't like it as much when they think it's coming, just for an item for health. So you use your, common sense, and you just go slow, and, you do it. But again, we would invite them over. I never say what's going on. I just do it on my own, like during a break or after we have a little food or, barbecue. And then I just play the video and people start walking in. What's that? Oh, look at that. And then I'll put a few cups on the table and put the drops, and they'll go, which water do you drink? Dasani, Fiji, I have all the waters, and then Kangen. And they go, wow, those are orange, it's acidic. And they didn't even realize. They go, wow, I shouldn't do that. They know on their own if they have a problem, and they know maybe something acidic is not good for them, Because if you think of it, a lot of acidic stress produces acid. Exercise produces acid, and old age, like my father had gout, it's uric acid. I'm not saying Enagic does anything or cures anything, but a lot of problems in life are from acid, So I just drink alkaline because it's good for me. And real water now has a problem. All these bottles, they're finding out either they make them artificially, they're not made like our water is really different, making it in a machine at home and drinking it fresh rather than having, you wouldn't eat your food out of a can anymore. So why drink your water out of a bottle, that sat in the sun on a loading dock? You can use like simple comparisons people understand like that. Like a lot of people don't eat canned food anymore, or they eat less than they used to, because food in a can is not as healthy. You need something alive. And our water, fresh out of the machine in your house, when you wake up, when you're there, when I'm near my machine, I'm always making a couple of cups of water.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any questions?
Yeah, before we take on the next question, Danny has a reminder for all of us. Maybe he can expound a little bit. So while everybody's still here, please remember that any or all ads must be approved by compliance in Enagic. Would you like to expound on that, Danny? Maybe some examples so people understand better.
Okay, well, like I said, this is, I would call it the year of compliance. And the reason why is because, the company is getting bigger. And as,
I'll call you
Mr.
those.
Gridelli and Mr. DiMacaulay were saying that they feel that Enagic will probably double or triple in size, which, I feel probably the same way. The reason being is because everyone's more conscious about the quality of water they drink, and the quality of good water, drinkable water, is probably less than 1% of all the water in the world. And, some people believe that the next war will be on water. So, the more people that we educate about the quality of water, and, without water, we die, right? Within 3 to 4 days. The more we educate people on water and the quality of water, then, the better off they're going to be. Now, as far as compliance is concerned, and I'm going to drop down their email address so that everyone can take a look at it. And in case, they want to send or make an ad, it has to be compliant. We have people out there that are making claims, financial claims, health claims, and that doesn't work because if the FDA and the FTC decide that they want to check on all this, they can shut us down, and then there will be no more Enagic. Okay, and if they choose to do it with other network marketing companies, they could do that also. And why would we want them to shut us down, over a few bad apples?
Yes, and Danny, we know that Bob and I never had to make any medical claims when we were doing sales. All we would do is just tell them to drink the water and see for themselves. And that's the simplest way. And I would just let them know that about Mr. Oshiro, the compassion part, that we have an owner that is compassionate. And this is a technology that's a lot from Japan. We always, I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but we always told them that I bought personally other machines. I don't mention the name, but I told them I bought machines that were made in China and Korea. And I found that this machine was built, when we took it apart, the Enagic machine was a better quality. You know, I didn't tell them anything specific or never say anything negative. And you never have to make a claim, because if you make a claim and that person, you know, God forbid, gets worse or something happens, forget about it. We're going to have a problem. So you have to protect the ship. You have to protect the Enagic. And you could do this business and be the top in the world without making any medical claims. Right, Cynthia? You there?
Yeah, you know, and you're absolutely
You don't
right.
have to make any medical claims. Even if you do an ad, get it approved with Enagic. But we would just say we're here in town to show people new technology. And that was it. You know, it was funny. People would just, wow, you know, you got what? Because back then, you know, and still most people have never seen an ionizer in their house. Right, Danny?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, even if we took all the machines that we've sold just, you know, in the world, okay, it's less than 1% of the population of the United States.
You could fit them all in Queens, New York, where I
Yeah,
grew up.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
There's a million. If I had 1.5 million machines, the population of my hometown is bigger. You know, so it's such a nice thing to look at and push the buttons and play with, that people would just come to see this technology. So you never have to make a claim.
No, absolutely, you're right. And all you have to do is, I mean, you don't even have to make a claim. If you can do that magic trick with the drop,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. And then, as Art and I always tell everyone, feed the people.
Yeah.
You feed them, then
You
they
always
get a little drowsy. Then you put the contract in front of them.
Yeah. That would be good, you know. We
Yeah.
would feed them. I don't know if you're allowed to, you know, do other things, but we always had, you know, and I never let them, when they were in the house, I never let them drink any of the soft drink. I said,
Oh.
these are for experiment only.
Right.
Don't drink. I have to show people, you know, these other products. Don't drink those. If you want to drink anything while you're here, you have to drink the Kangen water. And, you know, a lot of people would run to the restroom. A lot of people said, wow, you know, it was strange, you know, but they'll, believe me, if they drink the water, they're going to know on their own there's a difference. And that's basically why I tell people share the water. That's why I would leave the house with a bunch of gallons in the back, because almost everybody I brought water to got a machine. And what I would do is, if an older person, I ended up Notre Dame, a big college, I didn't know this little lady walked by, you know, she had a problem with, I don't even know what it was, but I just gave her the water every night. I put a gallon on her doorstep and she drank a gallon. And I get a call from this guy, Lou Holtz. He's like, has a team called Notre Dame football team.
Right.
Right. And he goes, you know, my aunt is not able to drink any liquid. She had a tracheotomy and everything irritates her. And she told me she drinks 2 gallons of this water a day. He goes,
wow.
He goes, and I fly out from Notre Dame to LA every week to buy her groceries. She told me, forget it. She's buying her own groceries.
Wow.
So I don't think that's a medical claim.
No.
And she doesn't need a housekeeper anymore. And he
Wow.
goes, whatever you're doing, I want these machines for my college and my football players. So I got him a machine, you know, and it's amazing. You help somebody, like a little old lady that was walking by my house and no one would say hello to her. She put her head down because she felt she had trouble. And again, I don't know why, but maybe she said when she drank anything, it hurt her throat. And when she drank Kangen water, it felt good. So I never had to make a claim or anything. And by helping this lady, you end up getting hundreds of other referrals and people from not only average people, but people that have influence. So it's amazing. You never know who someone knows. And I always tell people this, help everybody. Some of my friends go, where do the rich people live? I go, you know what, the people I deal with are not rich. You know what I mean? Yes, some celebrities buy the machine, but they don't promote it. They got their own problems, you know? Most of the people that are the best people are the average people, and even the people that are hungry, looking to get somewhere in life. Those are the best people. So I never, ever you forget those people that are hurting, or they're down and out, or they lost their job, or they have no family, they lost a husband or wife, they're alone. And I talk to them. I say, how was your day? And so when they walk by my house, they finally pick up their head, I notice, because they're looking for me to say hello. You see? And no one along the whole street ever said hello to these people in 10, 20 years. And just because I'm saying hello to them, they smile. When they go by my house, they pick up their head. If they see me, I'm there. I say, how are you? You want a glass of water? And that's it, you know, and it's amazing to me, you know. I don't have to make a claim. The water does the work for me. Remember that. The water does all the heavy lifting. That water is a way of getting into people somehow that is a good thing. So all you have to do is say, if you want to make a medical claim, say this water is clean.
There you go.
You know what's funny, Danny? I want everybody to Google when they go home, dehydration. If you look at the problems with dehydration, one of them is death. Now, is that making a medical claim? Saying that if you don't drink water,
You die.
you die? Now, on there also, do you know people that don't drink water that sometimes get confused? So lack of fluids, lack of water leads to confusion, right? So, you know, when I would go to my mom's house and I see sometimes she just turned 88, God bless her. And, you know, I bought the original machine for my parents, not for me. But, and I'm not going to make any claims, but all I know is I could tell the difference in my mother when she's drinking water and when she's not, and she's dehydrated.
Yeah.
And so I didn't make a medical claim. I just noticed a difference in my mother, who I love. So what do you think don't you think I'm going to go there and say, Mom, here, have a couple more glasses today, right?
Absolutely.
See, you'd never have to make a medical claim. You just have to give it to people and they'll feel it themselves.
Right. Yeah, I concur that, David, because I drink
It's
1
so
gallon a day. If I can't drink 1 gallon a day, I'm 68. Okay, if I don't drink 1 gallon a day, I feel slouchy, for example. So I need to drink a gallon a
Can
day.
you imagine my mother? I have trouble giving her 2 glasses of water a day now because she doesn't drink any sometimes because she's forgetful more. But if I give her the water, I could see. I remember when you were young and you used to, you know, destroy the house and you set the fish tank on, you know, you broke the fish tank and the water went all over. You know, she remembers all these things. So I love when my mother has the water because I have a better conversation with her. So it makes me feel good that I can help people. And this water has, being a doctor is one thing. I sold my offices. I was mainly a businessman first, and I became a doctor because it was needed by the film and television industry. They needed people to take care of people because they were stuck 18 hours a day shooting movies, making TV shows. Those people couldn't get to anybody. So this was just a business idea I had that turned out very lucrative. And when I was 33, I sold the company, retired, and I was waiting. And then this came along, this amazing company called Enagic, an amazing CEO, Mr. Hser, that was like me. He had compassion. He loved the average person. He loved the person that needed help more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I always feel, that I have love for people that I could see are in trouble.
Mm. That's the first impression I got from you when we had a conversation. I thought we were just going to speak for 10-15 minutes, but we went over an hour, and you told me stories of how you've been helping ordinary street people with what you're doing. That compassion in you is just overflowing, and that's amazing. And it's always so much
when someone writes me a letter, say, David, thank you. You helped my grandmother. You didn't even know her.
Right.
It's better than money.
Yeah.
And I put it on a frame and I put it on the wall. My mother says, oh, you helped another person. I love this.
And you're also the caregiver to your mom, right? You were for your parents, for your dad also.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm lucky that
I applaud you.
My parents taught me to care about people. When I was a kid, we went grocery shopping. There was a man outside that was asking me for food. I gave the whole shopping cart to this man.
Oh.
And my mother came out, goes, where's the shopping? Where's all our food? And my dad was making $80 a week, I remember. We weren't rich, So, and I gave the groceries away to this man that was hungry. And I saw my mother was starting to yell at me. And then she hugged me and started crying and said, you did the right thing.
Aww.
So it was a good feeling, and, I made a mistake. I gave our groceries away, but we found more and everybody was okay. And at least this man got groceries for his family. So you have to have that Mr. Hser piece of him inside your heart.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, David. We do have a question from Romain. He has his hand up, so it's your turn.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. I was actually typing my question. It's a very generic question that most of the time you get, but I have a friend in Kenya who's looking for advice on how to start the business there. They don't have any financial facilities for the machines, and most of the question is about price. What are your experience, and what
okay, I can tell you my experience from dealing with areas in Central America. And what I do is I tell a number of families to get together and buy one machine and share the machine with the families. You see, in these countries, a lot of the people live with their in-laws, their cousins. Yes. I noticed. So our machine can make hundreds of gallons in one day.
That's true.
And we don't even need hundreds. If you have 10 people sharing the machine, maybe even 5 families or 10 families in the beginning, let them share the machine or put it in a church. I think this is the greatest thing when you put a machine in a church. I would donate now. What I do is I'll donate to a church or synagogue a machine and say, give this to the people in your thing. And you know what happens? Eventually, the people don't want to go to get, some people can't afford it or still go to the church to get the water. But some people say, hey, I don't want to drive to the church. How do I get a machine? So donating a machine to a church, you end up with sometimes 20, 30, 40 sales from the church.
That's true.
You never know, so in these areas where people have poverty or they don't have the facilities, I just tell them to share it among themselves and then tell other people in the little village. In Costa Rica, I go there and now people are wearing hats that say Kangen water. They have t-shirts, Kangen water. I gave them all kinds of promotional stuff and they're driving around on their pickup trucks, delivering the water. And I showed them how to clean the machine themselves because they had no facilities there. So they hooked up a pump and they, run whatever, either vinegar or something through the machines to clean them. So they clean them, they take care of them. Some of them use them with generators. Some of them use them have electricity now. So it spread throughout my whole village, Costa Rica. It's amazing. Does that help you? That answer?
Great answers. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Romain. Thank you, David. Yes, that's so true with what you said. Donate to a church. I've done that in a couple of churches, and it's true what you said, people pick up their water from there, and sooner than later they'll say, yeah, time-wise and all that, then they want theirs on their own, also to drink fresh, straight from the device.
I'll tell you a funny story. I have people for the last 14 years still coming to my house. They haven't bought a machine yet. My best friends still are coming to my house. It's crazy.
Because you're very generous. You let them.
I don't understand.
We have.
What am I going to tell them? No, I don't care.
They're your friends.
Enough people get it, so it doesn't matter if you help people. It feels good.
I don't see any more questions in the chat room unless somebody else wants to say something. Please speak up. I do have a curious question on you, David, though, that people have emailed me this, and they're curious about you being the wellness advocate or ambassador to the stars and celebrities and how you started with that. So everybody's curious. And of course, now
I basically came out to California. I went to medical school in New York at City University of New York. I wasn't a great student, but I knew how to take tests. So we have an SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test. So I was able to get a perfect score on mathematics and English, not so perfect, but the highest in New York State when you're, a senior in high school, you take these tests to go into college, right? And all these tests, I would teach the other students how to take the test. And the secret to taking all these tests where they have A, multiple choice, is it A, B, C, D, or E, all of the above, right? What I would do is I would never do the test, I do it backwards. So instead of, reading through this long passageway and computing the answer on the bottom, what I do is I read the answers first, right? So I look at the different answers. So let's say you're saying, what is the largest animal of these animals? Simple. I look on the bottom, I see mouse, elephant, chicken, turkey, turtle, right? So I look through there and I go, first thing that sticks out is elephant. Everything else is small. Right away, I look at the question, what's the biggest animal? So I already know the answer by looking at the answers first, reading the question second. One of the answers is already in my brain. So when I read the question, then I read halfway through and the answer already I have it. It pops out because I read them all. So by doing this, I was able to take these state and government tests in the United States to get into medical school and colleges. And I had my choice of anywhere I wanted to go. I went to UCLA and I came out, I became a doctor and a chiropractor. I went to dental school, but I didn't like that. I became a real estate agent. I became a human biologist, a biochemist, and have many degrees. So I came out and I loved radiology. I didn't become a radiologist, but I became the best person at looking at an x-ray. So when I would take care of people, and I started in West LA, Brentwood, near Beverly Hills, I didn't know what I was doing. An older doctor was selling his practice, and everybody said, "You're crazy. How are you going to buy this practice?" And I had, when I was a kid, 15 years old, I started a business because I told you my dad was making $80. So this belt is probably 50 years old. I made handmade belts and I stole them on the street of New York to make money to go to medical school, but I didn't know I was going to medical school. But I was making probably 50 to 100,000 a year when I was 15 years old. This is David's holdups, because the belt holds up your pants. And I make white ones for women and put little stars. This has all colors you can't see on the thing. So I made belts, I sold them on the street, and then I started drawing them, and I let my friends color them in with magic markers, and we draw the moon, flowers, and they made blue jeans were popular. So I made enough money to go to medical school, came out to California, took over a practice from a Dr. Darris. And my first patient is Bob Hope and Phyllis Diller and some of the old actors. And because this doctor was an actor, but he never became famous. So he went back to school and became a chiropractor. And then I took care of people. They said, "Hey, at lunchtime, we have a movie called Baywatch." Stephen Cannell, I was treating this man. He is the writer for A-Team, Riptide, Baywatch, Hunter, Knots Landing. He had 7 TV shows at one time on television, 7. He goes, "David, these people are stuck. At lunchtime, I had a portable table. At lunchtime, I had 2-hour lunch break. So I worked, from like 8 in the morning till 1. I took off 1 to 3 off, and I worked 3 to 6. So from 1 to 3, I drive to the studio, and I took care of 100 people, more than in my office, in 2 hours, because 5 minutes each, and they didn't care. It was fast, but they were so happy that they had back pain, standing around. So from that, I got the Eyewitness News team, and they say, "Hey, do you want to be on TV?" So I said, "Okay." So they put me on TV on the news, treating famous people, right? So then more famous people call after I go on the news, treating the famous news reporter you ever watch The Simpsons TV show? It's a cartoon, but the white-haired guy, he passed away. That was Jerry Dunphy. He was the eyewitness news reporter for the LA news. So he goes, "Dr. Dave, I want you to treat me fast. I got to get back." So I treat him, and he puts me on the TV show. Next day, I have 1,000 phone calls. So it spread. And since I was taking care of the owners, John Goldwyn owns MGM. Back then, Zanuck was the head of Universal and 20th Century. Wow. So I got all the major studios, and I hired 200 doctors, and I took these giant motorhomes, like a bus, 50-foot bus converted with a treatment room, and kitchen, and I give them the celebrities juice and, you know, healthy food. And we had masseuse and chiropractors, and I would take care of and then I came to the point I worked, you know, every movie, The Sting, Cocoon, Driving Miss Daisy, Armageddon, everything from Jack Nicholson movies to everybody in Hollywood. I was the only one allowed into the studio. So
Wow.
I had a monopoly. And then the Motion Picture Health, they approached me and they said, would you like to make an insurance company? Because everybody who works in film, television, I started treating Janet Jackson when she was 10 years old. So they said, could you take care of music, TV, and film? And I made a company now that is there. I sold the company, I think at that time, for $333 million. When I was 33, so I said, give me 333 million. So I was 33 years old, and I
Wow.
sold it for $333 million back, you know, 30 years ago, you know, when it meant something, you know. And then, you know, I donated most of the money already. I don't need that much. So I build places for people to live. I built churches. I built like Romy does, you know. I try to help, and I spend it all, but in helping people. I gave away hundreds of machines to the World Cup, to people that can't afford it. I bought 200 machines. I went around the world and gave them away, and it
Wow.
felt really good, you know. So, you know, I gave out a lot of machines as presents. But so, yeah, so I started, and here's the reason why they wanted me. Why? Because when I took an X-ray of a famous person and I see, look, their heart, there's now this has nothing to do with Kangen. Before Kangen Wood, I'm a doctor. So I'm not making a medical claim, but I discover aneurysm, you know, problem with heart enlargement, because I'm good at radiology, you see? So most doctors know one thing. So since I was smarter, the woman calls me up and says, my cardiologist never mentioned I had a heart problem. I said, you have a problem? I don't know for sure. And they called the cardiologist and he said, oh yeah, you have a problem, but I didn't think it was necessary to tell you. So the cardiologist, I don't want to mention the famous person, but never told the person that they have a heart problem that was going to eventually kill them in 1 year.
Wow.
So the person, when I told this, a week later, they had a heart attack. And because their artery burst, it was called an aortic aneurysm. And the artery, the aorta is that wide. Their aorta was that wide, like a bubble in a tire, and it blew. And from that, they said, listen, go to Dr. Lesman, go to David Lesman, because not only is he a chiropractor and he knows radiology, he knows medicine, he knows, so making myself the best at what I do, always, I try to be the best, and the people will always look for the best, always. They want the #1 doctor. So I became the #1 doctor in the USA, and people would fly in from all over, and I love it. It was a good feeling, you know, because it made me feel happy, you know, and my dad and mother were proud, you know, because, you know, before that I was always, you know, basically, you know, they didn't want me to make belts my whole life. You know, I wanted to do something where I get respect. So being the best doctor at what you do and being able to diagnose problems that no other doctor can, and not using drugs, and, you know, helping them naturally made a big difference in my life. And you know, these big people, I taught their children to drive. They ask me advice, what kind of car to buy. I become their psychiatrist, their psychologist, their doctor, their friend, and take care of their children. So when you do all that, you're part of the family. So when we work on a movie, they always say, hey, what do you think? Should we change it? Do you like the way it is? I have my own chair. We make a movie and I sit in the front with director. And it's a good feeling because it came from New York and I was nothing at that time.
So you became very useful in all the skills that you had, what you learned.
Yeah, because if you know more than everybody else, you have an advantage, especially when you could touch someone with your hands and change them and work with them and heal without always using drugs, and you could heal with your hands more, People like human touch,
Right. That's for sure.
And then they're very picky about who touches them. So once I become the doctor, they don't go to any other doctor. I become the doctor for everything, which they like. One doctor does everything, rather than go to 10 different doctors.
It's like a one-stop shop with you.
Yeah. And then I teach their children how to drive at night. They ask me everything, like, teachers, because they knew I like cars and racing and stuff like that.
You're like a kid with them. Yeah.
So I have fun. Yeah, and I always have fun. I always make them laugh and tell them stories about when I'm growing up, and things like that. Because I have a wonderful life, If you ever watch Forrest Gump, from Woodstock, concerts when I was young, meeting the promoters, making my own concerts at my college, because we had very good acoustics at my school. So all the music people in the industry, when I was 15 or 16 years old, they want to play at my school, because Colden Auditorium in New York was built so a symphony could play with a rock and roll band. So I got to stay with Janis Joplin and, all these interesting Jimi Hendrix and I was only 13, 14 years old, and I was in charge of the concerts. So it was fun. I was a little businessman.
Yeah, you are a businessman through and through with a heart.
Yeah.
Like my dad.
And then now we have the Kangen, and
right.
I never did this kind of business, but people could see if you're sincere. People could see if you don't care about money. People could see if you care about their health. And when people see this, you're the person. That's why I always, if they don't want it, I never bother them.
So how you do this is you're product centered, yes. And so that's why how you show them.
We're lucky with Enagic, we have the best product.
Exactly.
So it's not even it never even comes up. Other people say, I have a problem with this, I go, you need credibility. If you have credibility and you're honest, people trust you.
Right.
It's hard for someone to go into business that is not trustworthy, because people will not go there, So you have to always maintain your be a good person, never hurt anybody, always help, and people will see when they need anything in life, they'll come to you for advice,
So both you and Bob, this is wonderful to hear from both of you, global influencers, like I call you guys, that in spite of your status in terms of what you have reached so far with our company, you remain very humble, approachable, warm, and that compassion, that passion in you guys, both you and Bob, with what we saw tonight, are burning in ways that you really want to help people. And like you just said, if they feel that you're really out there to help them and not looking at, oh, okay, that's another commission right there, then the whole situation changes into that trust factor between you and this person.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And it never, it has nothing to do because, Bob came from Chicago, I came from New York. We met in our little town, and I always watched. Bob was the hardest working person. And, you think he was with these other companies and they went out, they were gone, all of a sudden one day gone.
Yeah.
And Bob working, like 10, 12 hours a day, and then his business is nothing, right? So
Right.
he really deserves everything, Bob, because he's the greatest guy,
Yeah. Well, this is why when we invite folks like you from Enagic in our business as distributors to speak in a platform like this, back to basics, we always ask where you came from before Enagic. And it's really good to know for all of us that we only see the end result now of you guys' success, but we really don't know where you came from, how Bob really busted his behind, let's put it that way, when he was just starting 14 years ago. And you did the same thing. You haven't even stopped giving water.
We joined together. We just we went 12, 18 hours a day.
There you go,
we
guys.
excited.
Hear that? And we complain about 4-6 hours when we have to go deliver water, right? And you guys did 12, 16, 18 hours a day.
Because if you can't do it, you're not drinking enough water.
That's true too. And in our conversation, and you did mention it here, that you still, every time you go out, you still have several bottles, gallons of water in your back, in the back of your car. Just
if I don't drink, otherwise I'll drink one and I'll give one to one of my friends I see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's always someone you could give it to, right?
Right.
You
So
can always
guys,
stop by an older person's house and give it to them.
he's a water boy.
And I don't mind I was the water boy, and my whole car was ruined from mold, and brand new car was destroyed because the water was in the back for 2 years, just water all over. But we had fun,
Right. Maddie says of what you shared, and Maddie, you can speak up if you want to. You can share what you just wrote.
Oh, hello, everyone. This is great. Hi, Dr.
Hi.
David. It's been a while since I've seen you. You were at the very first conference that I went to, so I've always enjoyed your humor and your heart for giving. And I'm trying to take the camera off so I can see. Anyway, I had written in the chat that it is always a blessing when you are blessed to be a blessing to someone else, and that with our Kangen water, our device, that's what God has given us to be a blessing to others. And you've done that quite well. And I just really always enjoy hearing your words of wisdom and how freely you are willing to share whenever you're given the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, because, everybody should know that, look, it's the basics that got us where we were. It's the simplest things, just the drops, showing people the alkalinity. Like I told people, I would go to Starbucks, I bring a few different drinks, and I just sit there all by myself and put the drops in different drinks, and people will come up to you. If you don't know anybody, go to a busy area and sit outside in a nice day and have a pad, and you put Dasani, pH, whatever, and this. People go, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm looking to see which waters are poisonous. And they go, poisonous? They go, I drink that water. I go, yeah, that's the worst. Because, it's funny, but when you do sit there and they go, look at that one, it's purple. Yeah, that's what I drink. I'm just want to make sure so right away, you could meet people anywhere in the world, and even if you don't speak the language, people understand color, So in Costa Rica, wherever we are, we're always doing things that are visual, and it's funny, but it works, and it's a way of meeting people. Bob is even better. Like I see him at the gas station while we're getting gas, and he sells a machine out of his trunk, You know what I mean? I never saw this in my life, you know? Yeah, I mean, not the guy, you know, opening the trunk, doing little demo in the trunk while the car's getting gas, doing drops. I mean, this stupid stuff, you know? And it works sometimes, you know? So always, and another thing is I always, usually I'm wearing my Kangen hat and I have my Kangen shirt, but it's at the it's in the laundry, but I wear stuff, people go, what's that? You know, what's Kangen? What's this? I said, it means return to origin, you know? And so it's good, you know, to have things to remind you and to remind other people of what you do and let people know, you know, if they're having a problem, they can come to you later, you know, maybe now they're okay, but eventually, you know, they don't, young people, you know, don't notice it as much, but, you know, people start to feel the difference. But young people want to learn how to make an income. And I found other people know how to do internet. I just would do simple ads without making, and now I think you have to get them approved by Enagic. But all I did was say, we have this Japanese technology that's helping people around the world get fresh water and looking for salespeople and blah, blah, that's my whole thing. And usually I get 2 or 3 people the first day, then I tell them to bring their wife or husband. And within a week, I have 50 people coming, and from every city Bob and I went to, and people want to see new technology from Japan. And that's all I tell them. I don't tell them anything about water and nothing, you know. I never tell anybody, oh, I'm going to show you a test different water. I say, what is it? I say, hold on, I'm on the other line. And I never give away what I'm going to show them, right? So it's because they won't come.
Right.
But if they think, oh, I got a new iPhone from Japan or something crazy, you know, then they'll come, right? So, you know.
Yeah, we have 2 more questions before we can say goodbye to David, and that's Gail one more time and Rowena after that.
Yes. Okay, yes, I have my friend's niece had surgery this morning and I'd like to give her water. I don't know how soon after surgery she can have this water.
You know what, on that, always talk to their doctor that's in charge of the surgery. Never make a medical decision on your own. Because this is what Enagic was talking about. If someone is under the care of another doctor, even me, even if I want to tell this person so bad, if their doctor is having some course of treatment, I cannot interfere. It is illegal. You go to jail for doing that because the person may not be able to drink water right away, or something could be mixed with something, the medicine they're on, and the water makes it more potent. So someone could end up, what happens if they pass away, God forbid, or something happens? The doctor's going to come to you and say, you told you doctor's orders, you changed the doctor's orders. You can't do that. You have to ask the doctor, is it okay to give them this alkaline water? So always ask their doctor. And even if the doctor doesn't know, don't go around the doctor. Always protect Enagic, because right away it'll be on the news. If something happens to that person, somebody gave this person this water and they died, and it's all over. So this is what they mean. If a doctor, someone has surgery and they're recovering, you have to go and talk to the surgeon. You know what I mean? Never try to, especially if someone's on chemo or something, don't play doctor.
Right.
Always talk to their doctor, right? If you really want.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Gail. And one more from Rowena. You're on, Rowena.
Okay. Good morning, everyone here in Singapore. I wake up early this morning for this Zoom,
Thank
and
you,
I'm very
Rowena.
thankful everyone that everybody are blessed with this Kangen water. I'm so emotionally, Dr. David, I just want to ask some question because currently right now I'm suffering for lower back pain, very severe lower back pain. And I'm just want to ask any advice for you. How much bunch of Kangen water do I drink every day?
I mean, people should drink just in general, a minimum of half an ounce per pound. If you weigh 100 pounds, you need 50 ounces. So again, that's a liter, what is about 34 ounces. So I would say if you weigh, you know, for an average person, you know, minimum 2 liters. And if you're a man, you know, 4 liters, you know. So going from a 100-pound woman, or let's say a 50-kilo woman to a 100-kilo man, I would drink, you know, from 2 liters to 4 liters, you know, or a minimum of 2 liters, I would say, you know. And
I
would
weigh only
stretch.
42
If you
kg.
have the best thing, which is not a medical term, you need, if you have back problem, you need to do yoga. Or do you do yoga?
Thank you.
Do you do any yoga?
No,
Yoga
I
is
just do
great.
some stretching only, doctor.
Yeah, yoga is great for back, for all kinds of joint pain. You know, it's a general thing. Stretching, yoga, you know, if you have a real problem, you can put some ice or some warm, alternate, and create circulation, or just lay on the floor with your feet up, you know, with a little roll around your neck. Don't use a big pillow. You want your body to be straight, you know, flat. You don't want like this, you know what I mean?
All right. Thank you so much for that awesome
And
answer,
make
doctor.
sure you have a good mattress, firm.
That's right.
Harder the better.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Rowena. Piggybacking on that question, David, I learned early on that from one of the trainings that when we drink half of our body weight in ounces, that's supposed to be just replenishing what we lose during the day. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's about how much we lose. So I believe you should drink more, but you know, like people like my mother.
Sorry, I had to mute you, Josefina. You were not muted. Sorry about that. Go ahead, please, David.
No. So, no, I mean, when I was started with Enagic, they were telling us we always drank, you know, at least a gallon a day, right? That's you know, so we were drinking probably so we had probably about you know, that's 4 quarts, that's 64, you know, 128 ounces we drink. And I drink a little more than that. So if I weighed 175, 180 pounds, you know, I drink a gallon and a liter, you know, or 5 liters, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but that's optimal. But most people, I find, if they're older, they're not gonna, I'd rather them drink, if I tell them 4 or 5 liters, they're not gonna do it, you know?
That's true.
So I wanna at least start them with 2 liters, you know, a day.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because if you tell them to drink 4 or 5 liters, they're not gonna drink anything. They're gonna think, that's too much, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you wanna start, as they drink the water, it'll be easier and easier, you know? Because their body will start to flush and detox.
That's
But I always told you, at the demo, I try to give them a few glasses right away, you know? Always have fresh water, make it right under the sink, you know? I don't bottle it 4 hours before and give it to them at the demo. I make it fresh right out of the sink and I give them.
Right. That's the best anyway. And okay, we said that was the last question, but we have one more hand and that will be our last tonight. I don't know how to say your name, Kajuja, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
My name is Kajuja.
Kajuja, thank you.
Yes, I'm from Rwanda. I have two questions. The first question is, does this change the taste of water? Once we get water into this machine, does it change the taste? That's the first
taste?
question. The taste, yes, the taste.
Yeah, I think it changed the taste because when it goes through the carbon filter, it takes out a lot of the impurities. So to me, I could taste a big difference, but I can't go back and drink tap water because I smell the chlorine so much. But I have a few pre-filters to protect my machine that I bought, you know what I mean? Enagic has these pre-filters that I use. So the water always tastes clean and pure. But if you go to drink tap water, where I am, it smells very much like chlorine.
My second question is about the business model. I'm running a social enterprise business for water, for cheap water, for low community areas in the eastern part of Congo and Rwanda. So if you look at, I looked at the prices that were shared by one of the person who invited me for these discussions. If you look at the machines are very expensive compared to the business model. And what advice would you give you if you could scale down, to make it sure this is affordable, and how can we make this, you get back from the investment you've made from these machines?
She's saying, how do you make the machine more affordable?
There's affordability of the machine towards the community. There's also the benefit that you give out to those potential customers without mentioning the medical benefits.
So basically, I just, tell people, first of all, think of this. Picture a car, for example, or a race car, or any type of an airplane. They need special fuel, right, to run better, right? If you put dirty gasoline in a car, the car is not going to run good, right? I compare it, so to make a comparison, I say the difference is, this is like putting racing fuel in your car, a sports car. It's going to run more efficient. It's not going to clog up as much. And I compare it to something that totally is okay to say, because I'm not making any type of claim. But also think of this, if you're going to drink water, you want to drink water without the impurities, and you want to drink water that has electrical charge, because your brain has electrical charge, your heart has electrical charge. When your heart stops, they defibrillate you, right? They put electricity, start the heart. So to me, it's good drinking a water that has electric charge and that has no impurities. So just healthier. You don't have to make a medical claim. People are smart. They know if you take the acid out of the water and you drink the alkaline, it's going to be better. And simple, you could just say, when you're stressed, you produce hydrochloric acid. It makes you burn in your stomach and it gives acid reflux. When you exercise, your muscle produces lactic acid. So that's why athletes like the water. And like my father had gout and arthritis, which is from uric acid. So the water is alkaline. So it's good for your body, because all aging and stress produce acid, and the machine produces alkaline. So it makes you feel better.
All right. Did that answer your question?
What will be the difference between the alkaline water with the Kangen water?
Because we're making it fresh with the machine. If you buy alkaline water from a store or in a bottle, it's, to me, dead water. We want living water. We're living. Just like you eat fresh fruits and vegetables or eating in a can. It's a big difference to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
I
right.
just tell them the difference between our water. We're putting an electrical charge and we're making it, you know, alkaline, and it makes a big difference than just drinking acidic, dirty water. The best thing is just to give them the water and let them try it.
Right.
Because when they see it themselves, you can talk all you want, but when someone actually experiences it, that's when they get the machine. You know?
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I tested the water first for 3 months before I made up my mind. Most people do that.
Yeah, everybody's different, you know?
Yeah. We hate to say goodbye, David.
Nice seeing everybody.
But we would like to ask if we can have you again at a future date.
Yeah, yeah. I go on Facebook and I think under David Lesman, I'm wearing a blue shirt. Make friends with me and you can see what I do every day.
Yes. That's how I was able to make contact with him, is of course through Facebook. He's a very busy man, that's for sure. And so is Bob. But you know what? They wanted to be part of this, to share us what they have learned so far all these years and how they are running their businesses. And now we understand that they keep it simple.
Yeah, and you got to get up early in the morning, drink the water, get moving. You can't sit around and wait. All, you know, it's not going to come to you.
Correct.
You have to make it happen.
You got to make it happen. There you go, guys.
You know?
Is that your last word for all of us?
Just my last word is, may we have peace on earth.
There you go.
And everybody love each other. That's what we
Yeah,
need.
that's what we need,
You know?
for sure. Yes. So we would like also to thank Eku for sharing us her story, and Betty, who now had to go and take care of her babies as well. And to Bob, thank you so much, David, for sharing your time. I know you had to take time off from all your busyness, and we're very grateful. And to Cynthia, who is here with us in the audience, I was asking if she wanted to say something about K8 or E8PA, but that's our next.
You want to say something, Cynthia? Or no?
She is here.
I know.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
David, you did a good job.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, Dr. Dave. You know what? David and then me and then Bob Gridelli were the ultimate single at the time. And now David was left behind.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why.
Wait, what? Oh.
You're still single.
Oh, I'm saying, oh.
Anyways,
Uh-oh.
I would like to thank Kami for this amazing amazing Zoom, and I would like to announce, since we are here, because Kami is going to have a E8PA Zoom for you guys next month. I think next month, right, Kami? Now I would like to encourage you, if you guys don't have an E8PA, get the E8PA right now, because the bronze still there. We never know if there is no bronze next month, because Enagic took the out the crystal, okay? Because the points right now for the E8PA right now, if you made a sale of K8, that's 20,000 points compared before is only 500 points. Now it's up to you, because E8PA saves a lot of money, and then you can even use that and you can withdraw money and cash it from the reimbursement of whatever exists in your over your spending in the convention in the future. So always had the K8, because if you don't, I don't know what kind of business you have in Enagic. So K8 bronze is still open. Please buy it.